the forum. You mentioned that in terms of your expectations, you just want to get an insight on how you can take a gameplay to the next level. Sounds good. You learn some goals. You want to be able to contribute at the high level, no sphere rules, be more flexible. Mm-hmm. Why? So I just want to ask, why do you want to be contributing to all sphere rules at the moment? What is, yeah, why do you
Well,
have this kind of goal?
well, I pretty much solo queue, and so sometimes it would be really helpful if, I had a good tank, or if, like there's a specific counter to a specific character on the other team that's doing really well. Like I want to be able to like switch to Magneto if the cloak is going off, things like that. But, that's like those are long-term goals.
I see. I see. Do you have any kind of main role you do play the
Yeah, I
most of them?
support definitely.
Yeah, I see. I see. It's just I always tell that to all players, and that is what's been in Overwatch 1 as well. If you ever played that game, there was a time when you able to just play as many characters as you want. Well, there was no role queue basically, same as in
Mhm.
Marvel Rivals. But the thing is, when if we compare to players who are playing, let's say player A, they're playing multiple roles, and player B, who is just leaning towards one role. Usually player B, they have an advantage over player A because they just able to build those consistent habits within
Yeah.
the role. The problem is it's okay to be flexible, but again, just make sure it's enjoyable, and at the same time, you're not. I would definitely suggest, if you wanna improve just at the rank wise, it was the best if we lean towards one specific role, because the habits we might build might be conflicting. I'll give you an example. As a tank, for instance, you need to have a habit of just walking in the front line, kind of start absorbing pressure first. And imagine you play 10 tank games and then you swap to support. Well, in the case of support, you will be also trying to just walk the front line a lot of times. Well, it's not just exactly that, but yeah, there are a lot of habits which might transition because you play one role to might transition towards another. So I would be definitely careful, especially with the previous experience of the same game, kind of same wise players who just have one role, they improve the most and they win more matches, kind of learn some. But
Yeah.
that is something you can think about. And your rank currently is Grandmaster, yeah, mostly support. Oh, what kind of characters you play? So you mentioned you do play, I think,
I would
Luna,
say
Cloak and
90,
Dagger.
90% of the time it's Luna and Cloak and Dagger. And
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes, once in a while, they both get banned, so I play like Mantis.
I see. That's good, and it's what I think, because you have this kind of diverse hero pool as well, sweet characters. I think it should be suitable in a lot of situations, even though the characters gets banned too. I think it's really nice, and your hero pool seems Luna, Cloak and Dagger, and Matters. Potentially something to think about. Just for later is maybe adding the character with more mobility, but it's fine. The game is still kind of, the meta is constantly shifting at the moment. A lot of people learn the stuff, so I think you can get away. You don't have to have diverse hero pool. You see, ideally, what you probably will see once the game develops more and more, once the player base gets educated, that generally kind of three categories in which you can lean towards. It's one category is if you have some sort of brawl character, just kind of more short range oriented. Another one is the long range, and the third one is the character dive character, kind of mobile characters. So that is something you can potentially think about and learn some with your pool. So you will be suitable in each of those situations, because comms, and you probably heard those terms as well. By the way, do you have experience like in Overwatch? Because I've been using some Overwatch
I
examples
actually
lately.
don't.
It's fine.
I come from Apex Legends.
That's okay. Yeah, and I can maybe just do some kind of analogies with the Apex Legends later then, but yeah, I think it's not as similar. Yeah, Apex Legends, you have this, it's battle
Yeah, it's
royale
pretty
game.
different.
Yeah, exactly. But there are a lot of fundamentals shooter wise which you can apply. But yeah, in those kind of games like Marvel Rivals or Overwatch, what matters a lot is what kind of composition we run and what map you run as well, and you can pick the character based on that. And by the way, with your pool, that's what I suggested to a lot of players. They struggle with they trying to have multiple characters in their kit to try to counter something. But what I highly suggest, if you are able to look at the big picture, sort of read your comp and read the enemy comp and then read the map, then that is how you get the biggest value. That is something we can talk about in the long term potentially. I don't think the first session is we have to exactly just discuss that right now. I think it's more niche topic, but we can go with that later. The team comps, the maps, and such is
Yeah.
just really important at the highest tier too. Okay, let's see. You also, yeah, so competitive, looking to get better at that. You playing 4 hours per week? Oh, so per day, sorry, per day. That's good. That's good playtime. Playing
Yeah,
PC.
probably like 2 hours per day, and then sometimes I just go on a like a I'll just play all day once
Yeah,
in a while.
that's fine. That's fine. Just as long as you realize you can stay highly focused. I usually tell people, and that's what I've seen within the academy. Actually, a lot of people that have immense amount of hours, and because you might have a lot of hours, your focus will decrease. Just
Mhm.
the longer you play it, the more the focus is decreasing. So I highly suggest, ideally, if you play for improvement, try to play the amount of hours where you can stay highly focused. I think this amount where you play 4 hours is just good enough. 4 hours might be even leaning, if it's per day, it might be even a little bit on. Well, you can think about even reducing it. It's so what I've seen with others as well. It's okay to play more, so to speak, but you can differentiate between active practice and just playing, just having fun, or maybe just playing with your friends. You might have just
Yeah.
hours for the active practice, implementing concepts, and then okay, that hours you can play just more for fun. That's what I suggest as well.
I do
Okay,
that a lot. I have some friends that are like pretty bad, but they still want to play together.
yeah.
So we'll all. I have an alt account where I play different characters and things like that.
Exactly, exactly. That is what you can do, I think. And that's what a lot of people been doing. That's what I've been doing as well when I was playing actively at all times. I think that's all right. Just be careful with playing your main role when playing with your friends, because you might build some bad habits as well.
Yeah.
That's why it's the best if you play your main role, just solo queue the main role for the improvement, and the most of your time, yeah, you invest in that, and lower, it's just maybe it's just 10-15% of the time you can invest playing with your friends, playing other characters if you want. It's still possible to play your main role, just be careful how much time you invest in there so you're not building bad habits. Okay, I think that's good. Anything you want to mention as well, maybe before we start looking at your replay?
Um. No, That's pretty much what I wanted to go over. I think you kind of hit it on the head.
Okay, okay. Then let me see. Did you send me the code you wanna? Oh yeah. So there was the code a few days ago. Yeah. Do you still wanna go with that one or?
Um. There's actually one recently that I think I wanted to. Actually, my most recent game I wanted to go over.
Yeah, sure. Up to you. What kind of character
See
you
if
been playing
I
there?
was Cloak. I was Cloak.
Cloak and Dagger. Perfect.
I can copy it and send it in the chat real quick.
Oh, you still, yeah, and your rank is GMC at the moment. Did you climb
Not
any
any.
higher?
As of last night, no, I went down to Diamond 1 last night.
That's okay. That's all right. It's okay. I'll get it back.
Unfortunate.
You'll get it back. It's no problem. Okay, so let's watch here. We got this code and competitive 16 minutes. Can you see my stream just fine? Is it
Yep.
working for you?
Yep. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, now let's take a look. And I think just the only one thing which we were missing is what do you need to work on? Let me check. You mentioned that you don't understand how to play tank control, and so pretty much whenever I play this role. But we trying to, well, because we focus
Yeah,
on
I
your
guess we're
support.
pivoting. If we're pivoting, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I suggest you focus on one role ideally. Yes, there are gonna be games where you sort of don't get a deal com, etc. But you want to focus on the long term results rather than short term. Yeah, well, maybe you'll even might win the game, but it's just what matters. It's like 99% of what your long-term result is your performance on the character, and the other percentages is just swaps, maybe playing other character. And a lot of times people, well, if it's difficult to play, well, you play another character, it's possible, but it's just you also have to learn a lot of micros, invest a lot of time. But yeah, since we're focusing on the support, what do you think you need to work on support, Cloak and Dagger specifically? What is that?
Probably maybe awareness of where I should be positioning myself to be able to, because sometimes I lose line of sight of a lot of like of the people that I should be healing. For example, like especially when we have a dive comp, I feel like I'm not like healing or adding value to the fights a lot.
Yeah, makes sense. I think especially with the dive comp, your positioning has to change. We have to just anticipate where the fight is gonna be and position accordingly. It might be a difficult task. Understandable. Is there anything else you think? So just awareness, but is that it
I
or?
think I think I mean because this is also my first hero shooter, I think sometimes I don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong. So I think just knowledge and like learning how to uh like go back and watch replays and like maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. I don't think I'm very good at being like, was this a bad play? Was this a good play? Like I don't know.
I see. Usually, what it can do with the replays, that is something we can go over more. I think it should usually takes around 20, 30 minutes. I actually might do the masterclass on that too on the academy, so it will be uploaded on the website as well. But yeah, usually what it can do is try to watch a gameplay through the lens of one of the concepts, big kind of themes. It's either your positioning, your decisions, your mechanics, or understanding of tempo. Tempo is just understanding who has advantage and disadvantage and acting upon that. And when you watch through the lens of one of those concepts, just ask yourself what could be giving you more value. For instance, you could be asking maybe do I have the best position to get more value? And how you understand if you get more value is resources. If you force more resources with less of yours, then it's value in the hero shooter game. So, for instance, to give you an example, you use your right click on something, and they use two of their cooldowns. And let's say their cooldown is like 10 seconds, so 10 seconds for each ability. It's more valuable in the fight because you just used one ability. You get in more value to the fight. That is how you can look at it a lot of times. So your what you use a lot of times can be, could I be forcing out more? Could I be using this ability and they could be using more of those? So maybe it could be vice versa. Yeah, maybe you can bait them to do something and then use yours, which a lot of times such as just people do. They just need to force out cooldowns, not instead of throwing theirs a lot of times first, because you give the opponent an advantage. But yeah, we can we can look and watch. And your captain seems to be starting at the front line. Well, right on the point. Sure, it's pretty good. You can have more fights because of it. But let's watch. So kind of just trying to heal all that up, helping the captain. Sure, going for mostly healing the storm is gonna be good because they're the most active. Okay.
Yeah, I find when there's a storm on our team or on any team, people like to just focus in the air. So I
Yeah,
feel like they almost like tank if I just pocket a little bit.
yeah, exactly. It's just at all times, and it's the fundamental of the support. You want to be enabling the most active members. And how do you understand who is the active? It's just you look at some of the stuff like their position, maybe their cooldowns. So sure, I think this one looks fine. Okay, let's watch this entire fight and we can think what we can focus on a little bit more. Okay, so just generally speaking, I think the attention-wise going good. Now supporting the cap, they're more active. Okay, can keep the attention of them. Sure. It's good attention on the storm too, just turning. What was the reason to swap there? Just dodging something or?
Oh no, I sent out my Discord.
Yeah. Oh, I see that now. Oh, okay, yeah. I see. So it's the blind. Yeah. Okay, let's keep watching. Sure. Yeah, okay. Now there is an ultimate. Sure, sure, sure. Okay. So I see. You. I just ask you this: how do you use your abilities? So what is the reasoning for you to use any of those overall? So how do you usually use your E? How do you use your right click? What is
I would
what?
say the cloak E I try and save for when I think people are going too low. I know I just kind of spammed it there, but I guess I mean I'm an economics major, so I think about like sunk costs. So I feel I definitely have a bad habit of like, oh, if I'm not using my ability now and it's not on cooldown, then I'm getting less value out of it. So I just try and use them when I have them, if that makes any sense.
Makes sense. No, this is good. Yeah, I think definitely you don't want to be holding onto your abilities too long. Okay, that's good. But what kind of purpose do you use it for usually? So is there?
Um,
Mhm.
I try and save at least my bubble or my the cloak invisibility for like just have one at all times just for a getaway, get out of jail free
Yeah,
for
good.
myself. Um, I like to put the bubble on the point, especially when we have a flying character like Storm, because sometimes I need to like because she gets sometimes they just focus her, and I really need to like be on top of her, and it gives the tanks a little bit extra breathing room to get heals while I'm not looking at them.
Makes
I'm also the
sense.
only healer
Hmm.
healer right now. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, there's Mantis, but you know what I mean. They don't
Yeah,
really heal that much, to be completely honest.
yeah, yeah. I think you have more healing output there. Okay, it makes sense. So you usually use your E for just enabling your front line while you can focus on something else. Like I mentioned, you can put that on point. So yeah, you right click. I mean, you bubble. And what about your E? How do you usually use that as well?
I usually look for like a line to see where I get the most people, but I guess I would need. I don't really know when to use it.
Makes
I just kind of
sense.
use it.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. So
Like, I'm probably about to use it right here.
yeah. So there are a lot of things with your abilities. I think, especially with your bubble. I think and just with how the character acts because you can heal yourself when you hit stuff. Yeah, it's just 8 meters radius if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, for example, if I heal that person there, then I also get healing. Or if you hit the enemy, if they attack you, you also kind of can get that heal a little if you
Mhm.
just go for the simple shots. Okay, but the only one sustain tool for you to just be able to hold your position is this bubble. It's in a way, if the enemies are going on me, I can use that. Maybe you can also swap the cloak and stay alive this way. You also have this escape ability. And your E is actually more enabling not this kind of stationary engage, but or just this kind of this stationary position where you're staying, but it's enabling the movement. Yeah, it's kind of because it's moving,
Proactive
and then
engagement.
yeah, you want the people to move, and this is what I see here. Now, how I usually like to phrase it, especially if we're just going over fundamentals on supports, is think about your position, how it could force an enemy team to make an action. So you use your bubble. So it might be on you or one of your teammates as well, it's fine. But because we're doing that, then you kind of, because you want to hold the position anyway. Let's say you take a certain angle, maybe I'm on top of this icon or I'm holding this corner. Because you have this bubble, your right click enables you to stay at a position. Okay? So
Hmm.
it enables somebody, it might be usually you to stay in a position. I'm just actually, I'm gonna write it down in notes as well. Enables to stay on the angle, and can be you or your teammate. Okay. Now your E is enabling the movement. Okay. So if anybody's moving, and now if I'm looking at this, what does guys want to do exactly? Yeah. So it looks like the cap is low, but at the same time, kind of notice that there's some movement to be done. And I'm thinking, what's more valuable actually? Is it to use your bubble or just use your E right now? What do you
Hmm.
think?
It's probably the E,
Because this is
so
what it
that
feels like, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
continue.
so that the captain can move forward.
Yeah,
and
and
take that space that they're occupying right behind the cart.
yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, well, they're missing so much space, so you definitely put more attention on them. But I'm thinking with the bubble, it might be more of a tool to just sustain, help. And you actually see these guys are moving away from that bubble too, so it's not doing as much. Yes, it's good. I think it's good you paid attention to the active angle. That's what we want. But it's just the quality, I think, that this angles, and just based on how your team's posturing as well, it feels that you're trying to move in, even though it feels not the best thing here. But yeah, I think it's something we can do. Mm, okay, enemy team actually pushing up, and this is where I think you can think about, if we're trying to hold the position, kind of sustain, maybe use one of this, your bubble, maybe you can also use your E, obviously, but bubble is usually, I think it's more preference, usually, especially when we have that space around the corner. And yeah, let's watch. So I have your ultimate too. This one is interesting. So you use it to kind of sustain in the fight, yeah?
Yeah, and then they pushed off, so
Yeah.
just bad ult.
Yeah, you see, but right now, when we're trying to sustain, could you be putting your bubble right there, the corner, for example, just help your team sustain because they're not pushing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. You see that? Yeah, so it's maybe do that first. I think ultimate could also make sense, but
I
you
don't have
just
the. I would have done it right now, but I didn't have it.
yeah, exactly. And you're gonna have it soon though. You're gonna have
Yeah.
it soon though. And the thing is, when you use your ultimate, you also can regain your cooldowns back. So
Yes.
you can
Yes, you try and
just
use your cooldowns before. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
exactly. And it's not just that. I just want you to pay attention to this idea of who I'm enabling and the quality. Are we sustain? Sorry, are we just trying to sustain? We just enable us staying on the angle, or we're just trying to help our teammates maybe push, take space a little. By the way, the Cloak and Dagger, it works the opposite way. Your E, I think it's his E, yeah, when he's sending his blinding. Yeah, or Discord, like I called it. Yeah, it's the opposite, works the opposite way. You can push the movement of the enemy team. If they move to me, I can just punish their movement. Okay?
Mm.
It's just because anybody is active, you can kind of think, okay, for instance, here, you see, they start pushing you, you can think, well, let's put my E, let's just throw it at them, blind them, because they're most active at the moment. Their movement is just on me, they're active, and later you can use this as an escape. But see, your right click, it has similar idea. I just want you to see the kind of correlation. When you have this tool, and sort of escape tool, sustain tool, it can enable you to stay in the angle. If you have this, I can just play here really aggressively, and once the time is good, yeah, maybe you're missing some HP, you can just try to escape instantly. But before, you kind of use your E first, and that's what you typically see, I think.
Well,
Even
I'm
though,
standing on my cloak ult right now. That's
yeah,
why I did bubble.
yeah, exactly. But this is what I mentioned. And this together is just when the time is right, you will be escaping. You will be escaping
Mm.
with this, yeah. So I'm not saying it's bad, yeah. So I just want you to make the connection. Your right click on the cloak and your right click on the dagger. It does the same purpose. It helps you to stay in the angle and escape or sustain if you're getting pushed. Yeah, I know it's like, I'm just gonna use the examples later. So see, for examples here. I'm getting pushed, but because you have this tool, you can actually survive. Or, yeah, if you, this dagger here, you can use this bubble and actually survive too. So see what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say? Yeah, it's kind of just the main idea of, if you take an angle, then you can do that. But yeah, we're gonna watch a little bit more. Just use the lens of what we know now about those abilities, I think. It's gonna be pretty important. So now, you got your right click, you have your E, and this is why I'm thinking, well, who is more active? What kind of movement you can enable? See, now, nobody needs to sort of just stay on the angle. Yeah, they don't need to sustain. You don't need to sustain yourself. So you could just maybe throw your E.
Mm-hmm.
But who you could use your E on at the moment? Who is more active, you think? What kind of angle moves in more active?
Probably the storm.
Storm right now. Yeah, so just throw your E there. Of course, it's a longer cooldown as well, but you will find a lot of times you use your E first for movement in, and then later you might need the time to just find the time to sustain with your with your right click. That's what I think, at least. Because it feels like this guy's just also not able to move in freely. Let me see what the E does as well. So it does healing, and there's a healing boost, and duration is 4 seconds. So actually, if I'm enabling somebody moving on the angle with the E, then it's quite a lot, I think. 4 seconds, quite a lot, it feels, yeah? You can definitely take a better position while doing that, it feels. Mm-hmm. I think you can call it like a window. Something, yeah, okay. Enabling cap, that's good. Now that's where you can decide, yeah. Am I just enabling using the right click or my E? What do you think? What should you do?
I feel like I couldn't hit him with the E.
Yeah. So it also feels like you guys need to sustain too, I think. So might be
So we
fine.
need.
Yeah.
He needs to stand in it though. Come on.
Yeah,
There you go.
because they're not moving in now, yeah. So it's totally fine. Okay, now your cloak. Okay. Sornas. Did we used the so we didn't when we were doing this, okay, so kind of just right, so this
Missed the Discord on the Loki.
it's all right. Okay, I'm thinking of what you could have done differently here. What's your thoughts with your abilities?
Maybe I could have cloaked up to the or like taken a better position, maybe off to the right and back more, so I could see my players more, and I wouldn't not have gotten dove by that door.
That's what I think as well. You definitely don't want to be at the same angle as your team. If you have some mobility, yeah, you can just try to reposition a little bit. And this just because you have some sustain as well. Maybe you're gonna get dived or something. You can try to use some of your abilities. You just want to be careful. Let me see. I think once in the cloak form. Yeah, so you're gonna get your bubble in 6 seconds, yeah, so this what can also enable you to just stay on the angle, but yeah, after we've done this, okay, probably take the different position, Thor, yeah, it's a lot of times can take down the backline really easily. It's the only thing which comes to mind, I think, it's just the angles could be helpful. Okay. Trying to move up, take space. Yeah, so probably cannot retake there.
Yeah, I
It's alright.
realize that there, so I start going towards the front.
Okay. So at this point of time, it's gonna be the time where I probably just want to enable some sort of movement for our team, but also find a good time. Yeah, just find a good time when the actual movement starts, when you know my team is active, then let's just try to enable them with the E. See, it's just kind of, it feels we're
Yeah, I
holding
probably should have
a
done it
little bit
right
long.
there.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, your and who you would be using it on? Your front line or... Yeah.
Probably
So,
the front line.
probably, yeah.
I should have done like right there.
Yeah, that's what I think too. They're already in the melee range, so you start enabling 4 seconds. They have that buff, and they still push up too because they also got to kill as well. You got to kill. You can push up more freely. Good attention on Psalak flanking, and you just push them away. That's always nice.
Thank you.
It's good if you support able to punish the flankers because they're more dangerous to you. Alright. Well, I'm missing one.
Yeah, Thor died.
Definitely makes sense to try and sustain. What you also waiting for regarding the ultimate? Are you just trying to bait out
The
stuff?
Magneto.
Magneto? Yeah.
I'm trying to like, my mind is like, how do I get this Q off without getting killed by that Magneto?
Yeah. Do you know what it can do, potentially? Just surround the
Fly up in
Magneto?
the air and then Q.
Yeah. This I like this quite a lot, actually, when you trying to, because you're also trying to do proactively, you're trying to do something proactively, it's a good way of baiting stuff. I think you definitely have to see experiment with the spots where you're going towards, But
Mm,
generally speaking, yeah. Why I don't like the idea of waiting is that sometimes you just don't know if they're gonna use something or not, and
yeah.
yeah, they just might end up not using anything. It's always better to find a way to force them to do something without getting yourself killed. So if you do this up in the air, you just need to what else you think you need to do just to make sure you will not get killed by this Magneto
May-
guy.
Maybe play a corner, so if I can get like
Play
maybe
corner.
just two, play a corner so that I can go in like
Mhm.
on that, see that right corner right there? Like
Yeah,
do the first one right on
yeah,
that corner, maybe where that cap is standing, and
yeah.
then immediately go back and see if I can get out. Because even just two down is very helpful. It's better than
Exactly.
none, which I'm doing right now.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because I think your ultimate's quite good at enabling the push as well. You can either counter
Yeah,
their
that's
push,
really good.
or yeah, just enable your push. Make them try to chase you. Sometimes you can just try to set up on the back line. I think there's some good examples I can share as well. Some players do. You definitely don't want to do this. Yeah, if you know the Magneto, yeah, you can do, as you mentioned, go up in the air, this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be tough. It can just
Yeah.
shoot and kill you. Okay. Now let's watch what's gonna happen next. It feels your attention is definitely in the good place. You just need to polish the. So it's not only about your teammates, also on the enemy team wise. You
Yeah.
just look at the angles. It's great. I think polish this probably enable the movement of your team a little bit more with your E. Let's see if there gonna be any good moments when they can do that. It's just kind of holding. This is getting killed. Yeah, what do you think about this? Just this brief moment. At any time we could be using these. Should we be using the? What's your thoughts? Maybe use your right
Um,
click.
I guess I should have E'd. Sometimes it just like doesn't come to mind, and I feel like my burst healing's better, and it's just for like stronger pushes, and we're like backing off right now.
Hmm.
So I guess I should be like I don't like to use it as sustain, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So do not use E for sustain. That's what
Yeah,
we're
and
trying to
right
say.
now, like I know we're not getting a push off right
Mhm.
now. Everyone's backing off,
Yep.
so I'm just trying to sustain those three
Yep.
characters right there.
So what are you gonna use here?
I guess the bubble.
Yep. The bubble. So it's kind of
Where do you think I should have
enables.
put it?
Oh, what do you think? I'm gonna.
Maybe on the entrance, maybe like
Yeah.
right on that little curve.
Yeah, alright. So entrance curve. That's what you typically see with those abilities. Whenever you have the sort of AoE with the characters, you try to play it on the edge of the corner. To just give you the example as well. So if I'm putting it on the corner, what it does is if the enemy is pushing this corner, the
Yeah, it
instant
would allow them to
disadvantage.
apply some pressure. Yeah,
Yeah, the instant
that makes
disadvantage.
sense.
This idea in any similar game, maybe it will ever come again later. It's always you place those AoE in the chokes, and you do it in this way, so you have more favorable positioning. And if they enter your space when they have this position certain ability up, then it makes it difficult for the enemy. Yeah, it makes it difficult for the enemy to do stuff. So yeah, I would definitely do that. You need to sustain. Just use the right click. It's alright. Later, enable the push if it's needed. And also thinking about if the enemy is pushing in, then maybe think about the cloak, what it can do with your blind, yeah? Because right now, you see this? The enemies are being active. There are quite a lot of angles. Maybe even blind this. I'm not sure. If you blind the Storm Ultimate, well, they kind of know where you are, but at least they're gonna do something. It's just gonna be not. They're not
Yeah,
gonna
I'm not
be.
even sure how that interacts.
I'm pretty sure you should be able to. Well, actually, no, I'm not sure. I don't know. You gotta
I think
check.
once you're like in that top down, you probably aren't blinded.
Yeah. You gotta check this. I'm not too sure, but what I'm sure about is that this angle here on the enemy team, you need to blind because they're active. So just simplifying it. Yeah, we disabling an enemy and enabling yours with the sustain. That's kind of two
Mhm.
things, two ways of your your support in general. Yeah, you're trying to do damage or pressure on the enemy team at the right time, and also support your angles at the right time. And that's why I think this character is pretty difficult. You have two sets of cooldowns,
Yeah.
and now none of those cooldowns are used as well. So that's what it's gonna be problematic for sure. definitely like this as an escape. Yeah, it's good, but there could be blind thrown before, and the sustain tool. Yeah, so exactly
Got
that.
a little greedy there.
By the way, a lot of times you might find, and it's just for any support, everybody, I think everybody on their guides that tell you, you gotta heal your team first and this sort of stuff, but the reality in those games, because the damage output is always gonna be higher, you need to keep an eye on the win conditions around the damage, enabling the pressure or disabling the pressure. So if there's a pressure from the enemy team, I can start just using the blind to them first or something as a cloak, and later you can try and do stuff with your healing because your team starts taking damage. But the first goal is to enable the damage. And a lot of people that tell you to do healing, that don't listen, don't listen to them. Yeah, it's not how this kind of games works. A lot of times, it's just because of the map control. You get the better map control with all the damage first. Well, in reality, you also don't need to heal at the start a lot of times. That's why I highly suggest your projectiles. Just find a time what you can do with your healing, just regular shots as well. So it's fine to heal the active target. Then later, when there's time, try to also put some pressure. Like right now, you could be doing that as well. You
Yeah.
can just throw some shots and your. What do you think about your abilities here? What do we use? E or use our right click?
Probably get the E down at least on the Captain America.
Yeah, and enable
And
it first. Yeah.
then maybe hold an angle for me and the squirrel girl at the top of that little hill,
Hmm.
that little incline.
Yeah. So it's
I have
just.
trouble in this specific environment because a
I
lot of
don't know
people like to
which.
sit up top, and if
Yeah.
I'm not up top on that little thing, I have a
Yes.
hard time healing them.
Yes, that's where you want to be, I think. You
You
just,
think so?
well, you the long range character. The idea with
Yeah.
the long range
I feel like I
character,
get focused.
if you get focused, then what?
Just drop or invis.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, you want these guys to also force
Or
to
maybe, yeah,
focus
go to
you.
the top, put the bubble down,
Yeah, well,
play kind of tank a bit.
yeah, but the thing is, you don't want to use it too early. So it's always, as much at the start, it's a game of resources. And yeah, let's just kind of
Go
have
up
this.
top, and if I get focused, bubble.
Yes, yes, but always to read what they investing. If they just investing nothing, like Thor Dash, I don't think it's enough. But maybe there's a Awaken ability and such. Yeah, well, I can start doing something else. You can play around the corners. Can maybe sometimes drop. You can use the ability like the bubble as well to try to stay alive. Probably the escape as well. This is something you wanna read. Just mechanics. I think micro wise, you definitely have to experiment. I'm not sure about the exactly all the matchups, how is that gonna be the best for you, but it's just how it should work. The kind of bigger, if we're talking about the bigger picture, yeah, I think which
Hmm.
which it's always good to find ways to set up in a way so it forces the enemy team to do the action. So they do the action that you more in control because you're always better. You're not exactly playing around your teammates who might be doing good plays or bad plays. We just trying to force the enemy to do something, and later we can capitalize on it. We can use our own abilities. Yeah, maybe use bubble in trade off. I'd say they use something like couple of maybe they use dash on Psylocke, maybe they use dash on Thor, and then they start using Awaken. Yeah, stuff like that. It's just always see the trades. Eh,
I feel like I baited the Loki E there with that Discord,
yeah.
which I feel
So
like is a good trade, a
this,
decent trade.
so it's yeah, what do you think, by the way, when you do this? So first of all, it's just the timing. Yeah, we talked about
Well,
the
I
disabling.
saw the
Hmm?
what do you call it? The Squirrel Girl ult. And so I'm like, oh, if I blind them for a second, maybe they can't see it.
Yeah, that's good, I think. Yeah, that's one of the ways. Yeah, you can just try to blind them. Your teammates can do more damage, and also see, because this angles, I think, pretty active at the moment. Yeah, you can just try to put.
Yeah, I only get the Loki.
Yeah, you got. I think it's okay. Try. Mm, maybe it's just something for you for the future to also watch out. It's just somebody might come out maybe this way. That there's also the storm. I think it's gonna be harder to hit because of the distance, but yeah. It's alright definitely to disable their movement if they're trying to do something, just go after you. Pay attention on this.
That's why when I can't heal him, I'm like, I just need to keep him alive.
Yeah.
That's why I use the bubble.
Yeah, bubble is good because they want to stay the position. So just again, enable you or enable their position. Where you want to be with your positioning right now, by the way.
Maybe back up a bit towards like the corridor behind me to the right. So yeah,
To
right
the
over there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Maybe here.
Yeah, like that, yeah. Because, again, we're trying to force out some attention, make them do something, while enabling your team, disabling theirs, and generally speaking, you need long-range angle, and I think it's fine if you're trying to bounce the shots too. Maybe somebody gets around the corner. If you know the map stuff, that's something you can have to experiment with, but you can hit the enemy
with the
behind the
bounces.
corners. Yeah, it's quite interesting, and that's why you have high skill ceiling curve as well with this character. You can do quite a lot. You can brush around the corners and such. And yeah, you need it right when it's possible to go on the long range angle instead of just walking. Set up at the longer range sidelines more. And now maybe you could also take the position. Maybe try to even go here. It's fine. I think you can you get your cooldowns back by the time and just try to apply early pressure. Yeah, shoot a little bit. Can set up on the long range at all times. Sit on the long range and then later you move back towards another long range like that one. It's just pressure at all times first. Yeah, does it make sense or?
Yeah, no, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Especially like, I guess I'm not pressuring as much right now because I like to pressure after like a one fight just to try and farm a bit, but I already have my Q.
Yeah, no, it's makes sense. I think it's just a matter of you kind of can. First of all, I think I don't think you will be investing a lot of times in the poke phase, but at least what you do is you're trying to scout, and you can also try to disable any of their angles, like that Psylocke going on the angle here on the left side. They maybe can be more active. You can just switch out for that, disable that with your long range, and later we can try to move, just move back. And it's again, just because the game evolves around the pressure is just, even though you have the ultimate, it's alright a lot of times. They also have theirs. It's not like we're gonna feed them a lot of full charge this way. Angle is not comfortable. You have too short range here. The escape makes sense though, but you can be sitting on the right side.
I was gonna Q there, and then I saw the Luna Q. That's why I went up in the air.
Yeah. No, it's good. No, I'm just you see what I'm saying. If we're not sitting here, maybe you're gonna, because you're sitting here, you might just force out the attention on yourself, and this is also gonna enable. It's gonna be easier for you to put all the pressure on the choke. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, or?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Moving back. Okay. There's a kill. Sure. Going for reposition. And okay, actually going for the ult this. Yeah.
Messed it up. I got lucky. And then the Loki did it because he's smart.
So this one is interesting. Yeah, you.
I kind of didn't hate it. I was like, all right, well, I got the Magneto and the Loki ult out.
Yeah, it was good. And just using your cap ult as well. I'm just. When you do this, and there's a cap.
What does the
ult.
cap ult do? Does it heal me?
What do you expect? So just watching it from the cap ult, first of all, what it does, it just enables, it does a lot of shields. Well, I can't exactly read for like how much and everything if you go on the website, but it generally speaking enables the push. Yeah, if we just simplifying, yeah, usually see kind of the cap, just watch his HP. Yeah, let's go back. Yeah, a little.
Does it give his friendly HP? I know it gives him HP. Basically makes him unkillable.
Yeah, exactly. See? Okay, so about you though, it's just I have to read. Actually. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it gives him HP, but yeah, about him, yeah, we can go on the website actually. I can check. Okay, Marvel rivals, characters, and cap. Cap is this. Okay, I'm just while I'm searching, but yeah, if they using the ultimate, so if he's using the ultimate, what do you expect the enemy team to do?
Um, maybe back off or try and hold position.
Yeah, they're gonna back off, hold the position, especially because they're missing one. So what do
Or
you need to
ult.
do? Yeah, yeah.
Um, maybe I need to just like help that push. Maybe hit him with just the E and keep the Psylocke healthy, and then use the Q maybe after that ends.
Yeah, exactly. It's just too much. It feels. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too much. That's what want to be careful when you're enabling those active angles. Don't overdo it. You enable activity. Do just using your ability is good enough, and from technical standpoint as well,
I
just
guess I was trying to
cheaper.
counter the I think I kind of tunnel visioned on the I heard the storm bolt and I was like I need to counter
Yeah,
this. I don't want that Luna to die.
yeah. Yes, Storm. Sure, but then do it later. Just when they commit. So again, we trying to see what I'm. You will do a lot of support. You use your teammates and yourself as a bait. They start doing something towards you. They commit, and then you use your defensive or offensive abilities to just
Hmm.
either disable or enable. So now it just might be not the exact time because where the storm is. Yeah, they're right here. Okay, let's just go back a little. I should have been taking an angle. Let me see. Yeah, so
I didn't even notice they went back with
it's
that.
just it just feels like you guys also press those at the same time. Because it just felt like the reasoning is oh, okay, then it might be actually reasonable. Okay, so if they commit this far, but then you have to walk back more in this case. If your reasoning
Yeah,
is to counter,
I didn't see the
yeah, because I didn't see either. Okay, because if the reason is this, then sure. But if the reasoning is I'm enabling the push here, then you don't need it to use it. Yeah, you just cap is good enough. You enable the push with the cooldowns, and later you can act depending on if this pushes a lot, or maybe okay, you get pressured here, then use the ultimate over there. Yeah, stuff like that. It's just the reasoning of what we do actions. By the way, you're getting the cap ultimate. It does so. 10 seconds. A spherical spell, field 4 meter radius. Yes, yes, and so it's health recovery. 150 and it grants allies 100 bonus health every second afterward. Gain 100 bonus health and grant allies 60 bonus health.
dang, that's pretty good.
So yeah, I think it's decent. Well, the spell area though, it's not too big. Yeah, the spell area, spherical spell field with a 4 meter radius is not too big, so that is something you want to keep an eye on. But yeah, it does it. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really good tool for himself first. Yeah, enable the push. Maybe if somebody with him is staying, then well, why not? But yeah,
Yeah, and then I died. I mean,
yeah, there's not a neither one.
I
Let's
was
see.
super surprised by that. I was like, ah,
Probably,
jeez.
but maybe if you could have saved the, so you could save the Luna with your ultimate there. Yeah,
Yeah,
potentially. Yeah, I think if you've done that, if the reason is to do that, then you could have lived this as well because of your position where you would end up later. Just small stuff like that. It's just one thing after another. Okay,
I know
we
it's so momentum based. It's like once one,
yeah.
it's just like you just get rolled.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And just so when you watch the highest tier, sometimes it just feels like it's all easy, but at the same time, there's so many things add up, small things they do, and eventually they end up the good spot. They just enable the good angles, disable the good angles, and such.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so I know there's been a lot of talking, but yeah, we went over a few things, and we can just maybe start summarizing. Yeah, there's been quite a lot. Let me see.
yeah.
So, what we got out of today so far? What do you think you can work on based on our session today?
Well, I think about like enabling and disabling, trying to use my E on pushes and my right click. It's easier for dagger. Right click to hold angles
Mm-hmm.
better. Um, I think I need to work on ult usage.
Yeah.
um, just trying to think about my positioning where I can, create the like, I know I'm not a tank, but kind of take attention because I can sustain a bit maybe on that like right before they're pushing up here like 30 seconds before this I could have played that back angle,
Hmm.
and if I took some shots and put my right click down, maybe that would have given the avenue for that Luna to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. So just to go over specifically the abilities. So for Dagger, yeah, your E enables. I'm gonna write down your E enables movement. So if we
Mm,
know there's any active movement, we can try to support it. Overall, your idea is all about when you're trying to just do all of that support is just enable active angles. Let's say that. So
yeah.
it's enable active angles. Anybody who is doing that, we trying to just put more attention on them. Okay, enables movement using E. It's enabling your team to stay on the angle. Well, somebody on the angle or yourself actually. So it can be an you. I think mostly for yourself is really good though, but because as I mentioned, your position with your positioning, what do you need to do as well? Remember what we just talked about. It was kind of brief, but yeah, what do you want to do with your positioning?
I forget what was it.
Remember the example when I was saying, well, why do we stay here? Well, why do we play here instead of playing here, or we could be playing there? What it does potentially.
Well, one, so I can see all of my teammates, and two, so that I can you know absorb some of the pressure.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just gonna be trying to. This is the most important one is the position. You can try to bait out the enemy team's attention. Actually, so it's more intentional. You're not just waiting for them to do the action, but you take an angle and bait out them doing something. Yeah,
Hmm.
you can bait out them doing something,
Yeah, try and
and
bait ults or not bait any
or maybe
cooldown.
abilities. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's mostly that. And to be able to do that, we need to stay. It's mostly, yeah, take an angle to bait cooldown. So I'm just gonna say, stay on long range plus verticality more. Use that more ideally. So I think sometimes you already do that. Yeah, sometimes you using high ground, like I mentioned. I think a few times. Yeah,
Hmm.
there are a few good spots and such, but just do it more if possible, if map allows you. Long range verticality, I think is good. Mm, what else? And yeah, your as a dagger using your mouse to just enables to stay on the angle. Yeah. And about the cloak. Yeah, about the cloak, it's just the same stuff, but it's the opposite. It's just the opposite. You're blind. We can use to disable active angles, and just see anybody who's pushing on the enemy team who is being active and just use that more. Remember, there was a time where I think the second point we could have done the blind on the storm, for example, over here,
Hmm.
yeah, maybe somebody else who's pushing, and then later you do the healing. Remember, your pattern is usually you try to put more pressure first. I think focus on the stuff like blind, maybe trying to also do more damage towards the enemy, and then later I'm gonna be enabling your own team. So disable first, enable second, kinda. This sort of stuff. Yeah, does all of it make sense or any
Yeah, no, I think
questions?
that makes good sense with some good insight.
Yeah. And for the other specifics, maybe if you're gonna have any questions, you can just message me and I'll be glad to help. But yeah, this is what it feels like we need to work on at the moment. With the other stuff, I think later what we could be doing.